Hi, my name is Samar, and I'm a proud father of four amazing kids. Our family had always been close-knit, filled with love and laughter. My wife, Avni, and I worked hard to give our children a happy life. But little did I know, a family trip meant to bring us closer would turn into a nightmare that would change our lives forever. Last year, I planned a trip to Delhi with my kids, Arav, who was 7, Meera, who was 5, and our twins, Ananya and Advik, who were 4. Avni couldn't join us immediately because of work, but she was supposed to meet us in a few days. I was nervous but excited to take the kids on this adventure. It felt good to give Avni a break and show her I could manage everything on my own. The first few days of our trip were incredible. We visited the Red Fort, strolled through India Gate, and even took a boat ride in Old Delhi. The kids were ecstatic, and I felt like the best dad in the world. But everything changed one fateful afternoon. We were exploring a bustling market in Chandni Chowk. The kids were tired and hungry after a long day of sightseeing. I decided to grab some food from a nearby stall and asked them to sit on a bench while I paid. When I turned back with the food, the bench was empty. My heart dropped. My kids were gone. I called out their names frantically, my voice trembling with fear. I looked everywhere, behind stalls, through the crowds, down every narrow alley. There was no sign of them. Panic surged through me as I imagined the worst. Who would take them? Why? As I continued my desperate search, I felt someone grab my arm. Before I could react, I felt a sharp pain in my side. I collapsed, my vision fading. When I woke up, it was dark. I was still lying in the same spot, but my children were nowhere to be found. I stumbled to my feet and tried calling the police, but I didn't know the emergency number for India. I found a nearby police station and tried to explain what had happened. The language barrier made it almost impossible to communicate. Eventually, they locked me in an interview room, leaving me to wait for hours. When a translator finally arrived, I explained everything, showing them pictures of my kids. The officers said they would investigate, but there wasn't much they could do without more information. I was devastated. Alone in an unfamiliar city, I returned to our hotel, where I spent the night crying and blaming myself for losing my children. The next day, I called Avni to tell her what had happened. She didn't pick up. I left a voicemail, begging her to call me back. I also reached out to Avni's sister, Kavya, who lived in Delhi. She promised to help and took time off work to assist me in the search. Together, we went back to the market, showing photos of the kids to anyone who would listen. But no one had seen them. That evening, Avni finally called me. Breaking the news to her was the hardest thing I've ever done. She was understandably furious and heartbroken. She told me she was flying out immediately to join the search. While waiting for her, I decided to visit the British Embassy for help. To my shock, I was informed that Avni had reported me for kidnapping our children. I was arrested and sent back to our hometown under strict supervision. Avni claimed I had taken the kids without her consent. I was heartbroken and confused. Why would Avni accuse me of something so terrible? We were happily married, or so I thought. As I sat in the flat, under constant watch, my mind spiraled with guilt and despair. Weeks passed, and I began hallucinating. I thought I saw my children in mirrors or heard their voices, only to realize I was losing my grip on reality. One day, I decided I couldn't stay silent any longer. I convinced the police to let me retrieve some belongings from our family home. When I arrived, I saw Avni for the first time since the incident. She looked distant, almost like a different person. I overheard her on the phone, speaking to someone named Raghav. She called him, baby, and assured him everything would soon be over. My heart sank as I realized she was having an affair. But before I could confront her, I was escorted out by the officers. I couldn't believe what I'd heard. Had Avni been planning this all along? That night, I couldn't sleep. The betrayal was too much to bear. I decided to seek help from a psychologist to understand my growing paranoia and confusion. During the session, the psychologist left the room briefly. On his desk, I noticed a file with Avni's name on it. Curiosity got the better of me, and I opened it. What I read left me speechless. Avni had been diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder, a condition where a person develops multiple personalities. One of her alternate personalities, Meera, had taken control. This personality was manipulative and dangerous, and she had orchestrated the kidnapping with her boyfriend, Raghav. I immediately contacted the police and shared the file. An investigation revealed that Meera had taken the children to Raghav's home. Thankfully, the kids were found unharmed and brought back to safety. Avni was taken to a mental hospital for treatment, while Raghav was arrested. Now, I am left trying to pick up the pieces. My children are home, but their innocence has been shattered. I am haunted by the memories of that nightmare and torn about what to do with Avni. She was my wife, the mother of my children, and someone I loved deeply. But after everything, can I forgive her? Should I let her see the kids? Life will never be the same, but I am determined to rebuild for my children's sake. They deserve a life filled with love and stability. And though the scars of this experience will remain, I hope to find peace someday, for myself, my kids, and even for Avni. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and follow.